In a store, in a store. In a room, in a room. In a kitchen, in a kitchen. In a toilet, in a toilet. In a garden, in a garden. In a town, in a town. In a park, in a park. Lugares você vai colocar um in, não precisa botar o a porque são incontáveis, ok? Por exemplo, na água, né? Você não vai falar em uma água, você vai falar na água. Então vai ficar in the water, in the water. E países e cidades, basta o in e o nome do país e cidade. Tá? Tipo, in Brazil, in Japan, in Seoul, in Paris, in Rio de Janeiro, in Brasília, in South Africa, in that box, in that bag, in that closet, in the river, in the river, in the pool, in the pool, in the ocean, in the ocean. In a big city, in a big city. In the country, in the country. Agora com at. At, alguns lugares a gente só usa com at. Por exemplo, home, casa, né? At home, em casa. At home. At work, at work. Lembrando que esse T, tá? A gente sempre vai cortar o som com a língua no céu da boca. At home, at work, at the bus stop, at the bus stop, at the door, at the door, at the traffic light, at the traffic light, at her desk, at her desk, at her desk, at the top, at the top, at the bottom, at the bottom, at the end, at the end, at the end of, at the end of the page, at the end of the street, in bed, in the hospital, in the hospital, in the sky, in the sky, in the world, in the world, in a newspaper, in a newspaper, in a book, in a book, in a photo, in a photo, in a picture, in a picture, in a car, in a car, in a taxi, in a taxi, in the middle of, in the middle of. Hey, where is Kate? She's in the bed. David's father is sick. He's in the hospital. I like to look at the stars in the sky at night. What is the largest city in the world? I read about the accident in the newspaper. You look sad in the picture. Did you come here in your car? There is a big tree in the middle of the park. At home, at work, at school, at the train station, at the train station, at the airport, at the airport, at the post office, at the post office, at the supermarket, at the supermarket, at Alexandra's house, at my sister's house, at the doctor's, at the hairdressers, at the hairdressers, At a concert. Era concert. At a party. Era party. At a football. Era football. At a game. Era game. Where is Maria? She's at work. At or in? At the hotel. At the hotel. In the hotel. In the hotel. At a restaurant. At a restaurant. In the restaurant. In the restaurant. She's at school. She's at school. She's in school. She's in school. Does your sister have a job? No, she's in school. No, she's in college. E é isso aí. Fiquem bem, fiquem com Deus. Tudo de bom. Tchau.